Hi everybody, Alex Employer from Expert Forex, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made $5,000 in 5 weeks, but in the end I found out that I actually lost out on $180,000. So it was good news, but also there was room for improvement. So this is going to be a busy video because we're going to look at those live results. And we're also going to look at the improved results, how I could have got to 180,000, and that's starting with a $1,000 balance in 5 weeks. And then I'm going to show you a setting trick that I use to find good settings for my EAs. And then we're going to actually see the EA trade the $1,000 to $180,000 in 5 weeks. Okay, so let's get straight into this video. And the EA that I've used throughout is the Moving Average Multiplier EA. It's a fairly new EA, it's been updated, and it's trading beautifully. I was lucky enough to use a beta version of this in the results that I'm showing you now, but the current version is equal to what I used. Okay, so here are my results on my $1,000 account. You can see it has gone up by 500%. I traded the pound yen, and equity is now gone from $1,000 to over $6,000. And you can see there has been some drawdowns, but it's gone straight up again, and hopefully it will continue going up. It's a real account, so that is real money. We're testing all of our EAs using real money. And here's a bit more detail. Here are the actual trades that happened on my account. And as you can see here, the equity was 6,000 at the time of taking this picture. And that is based on me depositing $1,000 into the account. I did that in April, but I only started trading this account on the 5th of May, which as of today's date is about 5 to 6 weeks of trading. So there's nothing more I can tell you about that. We'll see the settings that are used. You will see the approach that is being used, but there are the results over that particular period. So that concludes point 1 on our agenda. So now let's have a look at how I could have made 180,000 over the same period. So what I did is I just took this exactly the same period that I've traded, and I optimized the EA for that particular period. I used very conservative optimization approach because I could actually optimize this to go over $1 million if I wanted to, but I've used a conservative approach, and we'll look at that in more detail. So here's the tester, and you can see the multiplier is being tested. It's a pound yen, every tick most accurate way. I've used from the 5th of May, so you can see until yesterday, and I have used a time frame of 15 minutes and also a spread of 5 pips because the pound yen is pretty expensive. And what then happened is on a $1,000 balance, it increased to over $180,000. A great result, and it took 384 trades, so it trades pretty rapidly when it trades, and there we are. So the good thing is I made $5,000, but the sad thing is I could have made $180,000. So what do we do about it? And now we come to point 3 on my agenda, and that is using this information to create great settings. Very important, and I have never shown anybody this particular part, so please watch this very carefully. So on your screen you can see 4 results that have been achieved. Firstly, these are the settings that I used to do the $5,000 trading, and there they are. I focused only on 4 settings, and all the rest are more or less the same. And therefore, it shows you how simple this EA is. You only have to align these 4, get these 4 settings right, and you can make huge amounts of money. And by doing this analysis that I'm going to show you, you can get that much closer to getting these settings right. So there's my $5,000 settings, and then I took the $180,000 settings, and there they are. And then we said, all right, what is the difference between $180,000 setting and the $5,000 settings? So I looked at that, and then I also took other cuts. Now, when I normally do this, I do 10 cuts. In other words, I would take 10 levels of profitability and try and see what is pushing profitability up, what kind of settings pushes profitability up, and which ones push profitability down. So you do an analysis of the setting, get a feel of what the ratio is between targets and stops, and the ratio is of Bollinger Band periods and moving average settings and those kind of things. And very often, and in most cases, you find a pattern. And that is where I find my very, very best settings. So let's have a look. So I did a run for the 50,000 result and 100,000 result. So on the screen, I've only got 4. I normally have 10s, and then I start comparing the settings. So here you can see the 5,000 had a small trend moving average setting, and the ones that did really well have a much bigger setting. So it's more than double that. So that's a clue that this was too small for my trading. Next, I used 50. Now, in this case, it's actually confirming that 50 wasn't a bad setting. So in general, what we're saying is that if I had increased that just a little bit, I could have got close to these particular results. Then you look at the Bollinger Band period. You can see all the rest are more or less the same. So it's just the Bollinger Band period. And you can see I had a 9 period, and 15, 15, and 11 did much better. So already I've got a guide. I have to increase my moving average up there, and I have to increase my Bollinger Band period up there. So then I moved down to there's 2 types of settings. There's the trend setting and there's the bounce settings. And I didn't use for trailing stops. So, and the time of day has been the same in each case. And that hasn't been by design. This is in fact what happened. It said if you're trading the UK session, you will do the best with this particular EA. So we say, all right, I had 130 and 120, 110 and 100, not that different, but the big difference is that in this case is smaller than the target. Here the stop was bigger. And then we go on and we say, so on the whole, my stop wasn't out of line that much. It was probably a little bit too high. My target also wasn't too bad. You can see it's more or less in the area. So you can see how delicate the settings here are, that if I had made some little fundamental changes to stops and targets, I would have done so much better. And then also I started with a 50-50 stop and target for my $5,000 account, and it's basically saying, look, 40 is definitely the number for this EA, and then a higher take profit is better for the bounce setting. So 50 was too low. So I was almost right with the 50, but there I missed the boat. That should have been 100 or 80 or 100. So I've learned a lot from this kind of analysis. It's starting to tell me what to do. And as you can see, the difference between making $5,000 and $180,000 is actually very small. And the more and more you do this analysis, the more and more you'll be closer to finding the settings that really boost your results tremendously. Now, these were, I must add, very aggressive settings, because we used 5% of the account of the equity on each account for this particular analysis. So it was aggressive. I must warn you about that, but it certainly worked those aggressive settings and proves that this EA is actually a lot more robust than most EAs. And the reason why it's more robust is it can trade sideways markets. You see, that's what we call bounce markets, sideways markets, and it can trade trending markets at the same time. And that's what makes this EA so fantastic. Okay, so now really replay the video, especially this particular part, because this can make you a lot of money if you use this approach. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go into point 4, and we're going to see the moving average multiplier trading. Now this trading does take a while. It takes 27 minutes to run through the 5 weeks of trading, and that's because I'm using tick data, which slows it down, and also I'm using the visual mode to show you the actual trading in action. So it is going to take long. I will not be talking through the whole trading. As you can appreciate, there's not that much to say after a while, and there will be long periods of silence. But if you want to look at the EA trading, certainly this will give you an idea of how it trades. You will see when it's trading that it opens numerous trades at a certain place, because we only trade certain hours of the day, and then we don't trade the other hours of the day. So it will open a whole lot of trades and then stop trading, and open a whole lot of trades and stop trading. You'll also see that some of those trades are hedged. So you'll see some buy trades being opened and sell trades being opened. Most of them have only buy or only sell, but that's how the EA works. And yeah, let's go straight into watching this EA trade. Okay, so on your screen you can see me setting up for this particular run. I've loaded the EA, the currency, every tick basis. There are the dates that it ran for, this 15-minute time frame, and the spread. And all I need to do then is click on the visual mode. I'm setting it for fast, and I'm starting it. So it goes away, finds all the data that it needs, and it starts trading. And there we go. It's trading on the 15-minute time frame, and there we are. It started entering deals. And it enters deals based on 2 moving averages and the Bollinger Band, which isn't shown while it's testing, but right at the end it will show those details. So I've moved the box, information box, and the box shows all the settings. See the cursor? It's showing all the settings that I'm using, and it also gives you a lot of information about what's going on with the testing. Just condense it a bit to show you a better view, and at some stage I'll remove the grid to make this a lot clearer. Now in the end, what we're going to be looking at are the equity balances and the balance on the account, and that will tell us how well this EA is trading. And you'll see in the course of the trading that it stays more or less at the same balance for a very, very long time, and then suddenly the market starts trending, and it goes from a, let's say, 20,000 balance right up to a 200,000 balance, and in the end it ends up with 180,000 balance. So where my cursor is now, that is the spot that I always watch, and I look at how the account is increasing. Remember, we started with an account of $1,000. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop talking, and I'm just going to let this EA trade. And you'll see how the balance just keeps on moving up and down as it goes into a win phase and into a drawdown phase. But what matters is that in the end, the win phases outweigh the losing phases. And when there's an extremely good trend, it just does incredibly well. Okay, the trading has stopped, and as you can see, the equity has reached a 183,000 level. So that gives you an idea of how the EA trades. Also, what you can see on the screen now are the actual moving averages. They now have been drawn in, as well as the Bollinger Band, which are those green bands that you see on your screen. I hope you enjoyed watching this EA trade and watching it build up from a $1,000 balance to a 180,000 balance. Now, I hope you enjoyed that. As we said earlier in the video, we're going to be looking at the live trading results, which we did. We improved the results to 180. I could have gone to 1 million, but I stopped at 180,000 to make it more realistic. I showed you the settings trick of using lots of cuts of the optimized results to refine your settings, and then you saw the EA actually trade $1,000 to $180 in only 5 weeks. Now, any links relevant to this video will appear in the description of the video, as well as the commentary to the video. Now, I suggest that you have a good look at this moving average multiplier. Go to the website. There's a lot of training. All our training we put into our marketing website. So go and have a look at the training. Look at the videos we've got on there. Read more about it. And then you can give it a go. So from me, Alex Deploy, thanks for watching the video, and cheerio.